My car loses value faster than my motivation on a Monday. My car payment has a longer commitment than most marriages with a higher failure rating. Also, I didn't buy snacks, I took on concessions debt. Going to the movies now sort of feels like you're booking a flight, but you don't get to go anywhere. It's a lot. Thank you for the time today, and thank you for hitting subscribe, like, all the comments. I really appreciate the shares. I didn't know that Monks had a side hustle option. I also did not have Monks moving weight on my 2026 bingo card. You remember back in the day when buying cars was fun? Like you went to the car dealership and it was a thing. It didn't have to be the ugly, uncomfortable mess that it is now. There was a time when going to the dealership was a big thing. Going to the car dealership, for me, turned out to be one of my favorite things on earth. I love cars. My dad and I got to go in and find the one we wanted, pick the one that had the right color, and back then, you know, it had to talk to you a certain way before you bought it. It was a big deal. I'll never forget, I got to drive my mom's new 1986 Toyota Camry off the lot. Like I was the first one. It had like 4 miles on it. We went and test drove it. I just got my driver's license, so Dad drove. And then once we bought it and did all the paperwork, I believe it was $11,242. I could be off by a buck or two. But we did all the paperwork and we left, and he let me drive off the lot. And from that day forward, it was kind of a thing for me. Buying new cars is cool. Just buying a car, whether it's new or not, but especially if you get that opportunity once in your life or whatever to buy one new. It was so neat and it was so rare back then that you would take the car home and you would keep the window sticker in the passenger back window, usually where it was out of everyone's view in the car. But everyone on your block, that was kind of a thing, and people would congratulate you on it. Everyone talked about it. A lot of times the vehicle that you might be driving may be a late 70s model Toyota Corolla, but someone's that you know just got a 1986 Ford Thunderbird with a digital dash, which none of us had ever really seen. That was sick. So that was kind of, it was not really the age of discovery in cars, but for us it was because of our era. And I'm certain it's the same if you like cars for your era. So because of those experiences, I bought a lot of new cars. I've wasted a lot of money in my life, but I don't care. I enjoy cars. So as I've gone through that, there's some highs and lows in that, right? If you've done your research and you get the car you want and the price is right, when you walk away, you're happy. When you don't realize it, but you may walk away happy, but soon you're just going to feel legally obligated, kind of tied to this thing. Buying a car used to be simple. You found the brand that you trusted, picked the model that you wanted, drove it till it was dead. Now it feels more like you're vetting a startup, right? Because you can't feel good anymore about the brands you used to know. The ones you used to depend on are not the same. You're like, oh, I like Ford, like your name. Yeah, didn't they just recall pretty much everything that's had a turbo that they've had with a turbo in it in the last 4 years? Just all of it. Just bring it all back. We need to talk about it. That's what I'm saying. And it's not just them. They're notorious for that, right? What about Toyota and Lexus? Used to be immune. Honda? Forget it. Nobody was recalling Hondas. That bubble burst a long time ago. Toyota recalls every time you turn around. It's in better shape than 99% of the car companies, but there are still things going on under that tent, right? Didn't used to feel that way, and it didn't used to be that way. And we can talk about all the reasons why at another point, and it'll be fun when we do. But right now, you can no longer do that. You can no longer say, just because it's a blank, I'm going to be okay in this purchase. Now you have to say, just because it's this model, not necessarily this brand, this year, and maybe only this trim and or motor package. You have to find out its emotional stability in a volatile marketplace. So I was reading about the Buick Envision. I don't know what you know about this vehicle. I thought I knew more than I did. I was wrong. I didn't realize how much of this thing is made in China. I just didn't realize it. They're sort of tricked out with some neat stuff. The sizing's pretty good. I mean, the digital, it's a pretty nice little panel put in there. And when it all kind of works together, it feels like the fit and finish is good. I've only been in one and I didn't spend more than about 40 miles in it. But right now, the Buick Envision is in a really bad way. They're stacking up on the lots for over 300 days. Now, what does that mean? Well, it don't mean nothing. Unless you might be in the market. All of a sudden, the price is coming down, right? All of a sudden, there's no value in the new one because remember, in the car world, if you have it in December, you'll have it in May. So now they're going to be holding on to potentially leftover new 2024s, but you would probably expect a few straggling 25s, and at that time, probably, well, a plethora of 2026s that they can't move because, again, they're on the lots for 300 plus days. A year. It's not really a car anymore. It's a clearance rack with wheels. Y'all gonna have to reevaluate this whole business model. Imagine you buy one, you get one home. By the time you're there, the dealership's already calling you like, hey, we miss you. Won't you come on back? We've got 16,000 more of these. If you caught it on this show, and if not, I'll link it here, the show about the stack up of EVs, because they're coming back off lease. There's 800,000 of them showing up on lots over the next 3 years that are 20 to 30% lower value than they originally anticipated, meaning the car industry's taking an $8 billion bath. So you're about to get deals on those. I've talked about that again, the link's here. But here's the real issue. It's not just that some cars don't sell. It's that a lot of people are finding out that they don't even own the car they have. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I think when we're young, a lot of times we make decisions, especially for somebody like me that grew up loving cars. I made some bad decisions. I made some purchases that were questionable. And you have to get bit, I believe, in the car game at least once if you're going to buy them. Some people don't buy them this way, but if you do, you've probably learned this. I buy a car, I'm not fully satisfied. In 1988, I bought a Suzuki Samurai. It was an 88 and a half, thanks for asking. But with that, and it's a difference, there's a pretty good difference. But with that, the car wouldn't go over 55 miles an hour. That wasn't its jelly roll. It wasn't a speed thing. It was monster four-wheel drive. Okay, maybe it wasn't that either, although it was really hard to get it stuck. That being said, no AC, really hot, 5-speed, won't really get out of its own way. When you go to trade that in, you realize doesn't hold its value. You paid $8,962 for it, and it's worth $5,800, and you've had it for a year. You got to learn that lesson. You learn about being upside down, right? If you don't know, it means you owe more than the car's worth. So there's a couple of ways we can get you out of it. You can either pay the money and buy your way out of it, or a lot of people will roll that into a lease or into the next deal. So when everybody's upside down by 30 to 40% and the cars are also losing value at this quick clip, it's not really ownership. It's more like a subscription with consequences. I saw a dude the other day had a Ford Lightning. Now, a friend of mine bought a Ford Lightning, and they're really cool. I really enjoy being in this automobile. However, it didn't help anyone when Ford popped out and said, yeah, we probably gonna hold up on this. So this particular dude, I read about him, he owed $87,000 on a Ford Lightning. Wants to trade it. Dealership says, great, it's worth $47,000. That's a $40,000 difference. That's a bad decision with Bluetooth. You're not really driving it now, you're trying to escape it. That's not a good feeling when you're talking about automobiles. So now we have to think differently. We cannot trust our brand intuition. I was talking to my father about this, and my dad is one of those cats that's from the day of when you worked on cars. We don't do much of that anymore. Even the small end cars, the really kind of disposable cars, usually get you somewhere around 100,000 miles. There may be a bump or two along the way, but usually you don't want to spend a lot of extra money to get that 100,000 miles. Now, what you get beyond that is kind of what you're paying for. And we used to could just go, oh, it's a Honda, it'll hold up. Yeah, now you're going, oh, it's a Honda, but it's going to ruin my credit in 18 months because it didn't hold up. You can't really trust that badge anymore. You have to start now looking at model per model, and you don't really test drive a car, you interrogate it. What's your history? Have you ever hurt people? Do you feel good with a lot of people just hanging out? So that's why I think we're all kind of worried about cars. We end up talking a lot about cars where I work for some strange reason. But I think that's why we wind up talking about it a lot. One, and there's a lot of dudes around. Used to, you drove off the lot, you were going to be losing value. Now you drive off the lot, you're losing value and leverage. You're losing all the way around. No one wants your used car right now, and that's a bad scenario. We've seen it many times. Not that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying it's never good when it does. I thought monks gave up worldly possessions. Apparently, but not inventory. Did you see this? 52 Buddhist monks got arrested for smuggling 240 pounds of weed. The ganja, man, 240 pounds is a lot of weed. I said monks. I didn't say rappers. Not Florida man, just monks. Doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't calculate. I don't know much about monks. I'm not even gonna lie. I've done religion classes. I get it. I thought they sang a lot. That's about all I know about monks. Very little. I think they meditate some. Thought they were like really chill. They were sort of trying to detach themselves from all worldly desires and that kind of thing. Out here trying to reach enlightenment. Maybe. Something like that. Then the TSA opens their bag and they're all like, "Sir, why is your enlightenment vacuum sealed? Do you know how much weed that is, sir? That's not personal use, that's group enlightenment, and that's illegal." It's cush, though. You got to give them that. They didn't roll in there with no secondary grade. They didn't come in with no weak trees. This is the kind of weed that even Dre goes, "Damn." Snoop's like, "That's off the heezy for sheezy. That's real weed." So them monks ain't playing. And I guarantee you they're not in the distribution business. How do you get in the distribution business when you don't talk? Something tells me we've got a colony, a sanctuary, a group-a-wary, a bunch of monks that like a little weed-a-rary. I can't even hate on that. How am I hate on that? Now, 5 kilos in your luggage, that's a lot. 5. It's not carry on, it's career choice. That's a lot of weed. And you can't even lie your way through TSA on that, right? You can't even look at the TSA people and be all like, "Listen, it was a rough day at home, so I didn't realize that my kid threw this other bag in here. It's not really my bag." You might could lie your way out of a little bit. Okay. That's being done in America probably on the weekly. 5 kilos is a lot. That's 11 pounds. Like I said, you don't accidentally pack that. Buddies at the temple like, "Did you grab your robe?" I don't know if they sing or not, but I feel like they do. Maybe that was a different group. I didn't do good in my religion class in terms of paying attention. I'll just tell you. I did what I needed to get through it. I admit it. Don't tell anyone at Mississippi State University. They'll never suspect me. Mr. 3.57. Oh, they know. Can't be all like, "Did you grab your sandals?" "Yeah." "Did you grab the 11 pounds of weed?" "My bad, I thought you had it." This is why I can't believe they're selling it, because if monks are out here having to move product, what chance do any of us have? But you know, someone in Monktown there had to pitch it. Think about it. Guys, hear me out. Spiritually, this Why, this is a great opportunity. It's not smuggling, it's redistribution of peace. And you know this. And you know it's bad when the rest of the monks are like, yeah, we're going to need something stronger than enlightenment. Oh, yeah, we're going to need something way stronger than meditation. What'd you say? Popcorn and 2 drinks. Yeah, hang on a second. Let me grab my phone and refinance my house real quick. It won't take long. Do you have 90 days same as cash? Listen, if I don't laugh about it, I'll be crying about it, because popcorn and 2 drinks should not have me reevaluating some things and having to transfer money from one account to another. Yet it does, and it has for a long time. There's a story out today, Lord have mercy, it said movie tickets have now reached $50. I wish I could get out of a movie for $50. You remember back in the day when we used to go to a movie because it was cheap fun, right? A couple of hours to chill out, or if you were in South Carolina, it was really hot and humid, you could go in there, let the AC blow on you, eat some really good popcorn, watch a pretty good movie usually. I mean, there's a ton of great 80s and 90s movies you can think of, I'm sure. But now it's not really like that. Now it's not something cheap and fun to do. It's more like planning a weekend trip, right? My girl the other day was like, we should go watch this movie. And I'm like, I don't really want to see that movie at the theater. And I'm not trying to be rude. I just know what it costs. And she's like, I'm going to pay, which she is not. We split them, I know. But I'm like, okay, we'll go check it out. So I got 2 tickets. I'm in $40, which she buys. And then I handle concessions. So a couple of drinks, big old, 35-pound bucket of popcorn that I take home and get another 3 days out of. But now I'm sitting at the theater and the movie's starting and I'm looking at the previews and I'm going, yeah, I'm not going to watch that. And my girl, it's funny because I'll look at her and I go, nope, no chance. And she'll be like, forget about it, because she don't want to go either. They're just bad. So I'm doing math. Now I'm like, okay, 50, we're 70 in. Y'all blown a hole in 100. This better get good, and it better be better than these awful previews for these upcoming awful movies that are not going to get my money. You're blowing a hole in 100. And the movie is, not terrible, but I'll have forgotten it by Tuesday. I better get whatever mileage I'm going to get out. And when it comes around for rental, I'll have forgotten I've seen it. That's not good. That's why people are mad about the movies. It's not the price necessarily. It's the price to experience ratio. If I pay $10 to get into the theater and I watch Dude, Where's My Car? Well, that's life. I paid $10 for it. But when I blow a hole in a $100 bill, well, I got different parameters. I think now that movie should be a life-changing event. I want to walk out of that movie and I want to look at my beautiful girl and I want to say, Chelsea, while that movie, I'm pretty sure, made me completely understand my childhood and life. But instead, I walk out of the movies and I'm like, at least the chairs weren't sticky and there wasn't popcorn everywhere. And some days you don't even get that. In the end, I didn't really go out to see a movie. I financed an evening. And I think the movie houses and the writers and the actors, I think they should deliver based on that. Or I think I'm really bad at picking movies. And it's a family thing. My dad was the same way. Lord, when Blockbuster opened, he'd come back with some weird movies. He brought 2 every weekend. He'd come in, he'd be on Friday night, you get to see what he got. And Mom would look at it and she'd be like, what level of suckage is it going to be this week? So you look at, you never even heard of none of this stuff. I'm like, where do you get this? I think I get it honest. Can't pick no movies. Terrible. On the show tomorrow, I'm going to read another self-improvement article so you don't have to. Thanks for liking and subscribing. I'm at Bud Ford Comedy. Have a great day.